and I tell them what I'm going to tell you. The number one thing if you're brand new to this concept is remember you're headed towards the end of the line. Bonjour, lovelies. Hello, welcome to Paris with Angela podcast. Today, we're going to continue our conversation about the Paris Metro, le métropolitain. If you tuned into the last episode, then you know that we took a really good look at the making of and the history of the Paris Metro. Hopefully now you have some ideas and some resources on how you can take in, observe, and fully appreciate the historical side of the Paris Metro. You know how it was built. You know where you can find pieces and remnants and preserved areas of Louis Philippe's wall. You know about the Roman ruin aspect. And now you need to know how to use this incredible public transit system. If you tuned in to the first edition of the Paris with Angela podcast, you remember us talking about the Exposition Universelle, the World's Fair in 1900. It is on July 19th, 1900, during that World's Fair, that the Metro officially opened. The system pushed forward and expanded quickly, and the crux of it was completed by World War I. It is an integral part of Parisian life. No doubt you will use it. I hope you'll be brave. If you've never used public transportation before, I hope you will give it a try. Of course, in this episode, I'm going to teach you, hopefully, everything you need to know. Today, there are 1.5 billion passengers annually to the Paris Metro, and you can be one of them. Now, today's show is brought to you by travelinsure.com/Paris with Angela. Whether you're coming on one of my tours or you're heading to Paris on your own, no doubt you need travel insurance. You can check the link in the video description or in the show notes. It's flashing up on the screen for you. And I invite you to try Dry Farm Wines. These are small family farms throughout France, small chateaux throughout France and beyond, creating biodynamic organic wines. This is the wine that I stock my wine cabinet with. Biodynamic wines are becoming more and more popular. You'll be able to visit a handful of biodynamic wine bars while you're there. But why just experience it while you're in Paris? Why not have an order shipped to your house one time or monthly? And when you do that for the first time, you will get an extra bottle for a penny. I appreciate you doing that. Also, that's a way that you can sponsor this show. Now, let's talk about the Paris Metro because I love it. There are 16 lines in all, and each line is a different color when you're looking at a map of the Paris Metro. Now, in the old days, we really relied on those maps. We had little paper maps that we carried around in our wallet, or we had the little red book that we used. Today, you're lucky you get to use your phone, and it's a whole lot easier than it's ever been. There's some key terminology that you want to know when navigating the Paris Metro. Ligne is line, and that refers to each metro line, lines 1 through 14, with 2 additional lines that branch off. So some people say there's 14 lines. Some people say there's 16 lines. Direction, and this indicates the end station in the direction that you are heading. And you're going to discover in this episode that that is a key part of navigating the system. Correspondence is a transfer. These are points where you can switch lines on your journey. There are many different types of tickets for the Paris Metro, everything to accommodate the length of your stay. There's a single ride ticket all the way to an annual pass for those of you who are moving to Paris and are going to live the dream as an expat. The single ride tickets are valid on the metro, on the buses, on the trams, and the RER within Zone 1. A carnet is a packet of single ride tickets, and those offer a discount over individual tickets. A great way to save a little bit of money if you know you're going to be using the system a handful of times. The Navigo Pass is available in weekly and monthly options, and that allows unlimited travel throughout selected zones. The city and city surrounding is broken up into 5 different zones. So zone 1 is going to be your immediate city limits. And then when you talk about something like zone 5, that's clear out by Versailles. So that allows you to extend to travel further outside the city. The airport is zone 5, Versailles is zone 5, etc., etc. The Paris Visite Pass is a tourist pass for 1 to 5 days, and that includes unlimited travel and a perk, a bonus. It offers you discounts at various attractions. So when you're selecting your tickets, there is going to be a lot of options for you to choose from, and something will be just right for you. At the time of this recording, which is summer of 2024, a ticket is about €1.90. A carnet is about €16.90. The Navigo Weekly, about €22.80. And the Paris Visite Pass starts at €12. The Navigo is ideal for the frequent traveler. The Paris visit suits a short-term tourist who plans on visiting multiple attractions. So if your purpose to visit Paris is to visit, let's say, monuments and museums, the Paris Visite, the Paris visit ticket might be the right one for you. If you're going to do a lot of shopping and traveling, you might want to take a look at the Navigo Pass. The Navigo is what I use when I visit. And bonus, I think it was just revealed within the last couple weeks that now we can use our iPhones as our Navigo Pass instead of having a separate pass that we need to dig out of our bags when entering the system. There's also the bonus of the bus system. Now, if you are someone who has difficulty navigating a lot of stairs, I do recommend the bus system. Number one, it's going to be a little bit more friendly to you because there are a lot of stairs in the Paris metro. I cannot stress that enough. If you are not accustomed to traversing multiple flights of stairs on any given day, it's going to be a little bit of a shock to you, and especially in some of the bigger stations like Châtelet or some of the deeper ones like Saint-Michel. The bus also gives you a really, really great way to see the city. It's great for sightseeing because you're not underground and it's often less crowded than the metro. Now, one of the first things I do on my tours is I take my guests around the neighborhood we are staying. We stay very close to the Rue Mouffetard, which is great, so everybody can sort of see where they can grab a bite to eat and where they can go sit by a charming fountain. I take them to our metro stop and I give them a lesson on the metro. And I tell them what I'm going to tell you. The number one thing, if you're brand new to this concept, is remember you're headed towards the end of the line. So each Paris line has 2 destinations. I call them a top and a bottom. And you want to be mindful which direction you are headed. That's what you need to know. That's the very, very basic thing. I'm getting on line 4. Which direction do I need to go? Or let's say that your hotel is on line 10. And let's say your hotel is near the Charles Michel stop and you want to go to Saint-Chapelle. If you look on a map of Paris, or even easier, if you use your phone, say you have an iPhone and you use Apple Maps, type in Saint-Chapelle, and that is the church with all the beautiful stained glass. Let's say you want to see that. If you type it in, the directions are going to come up and they're going to tell you exactly what to do. It's going to tell you to go in the direction of the end of line 10. So if you were going to bypass where you're headed, Saint-Chapelle, you're going to go all the way. You would be going all the way, in theory, to Gare d'Austerlitz, which is the end of line 10. If you went in the opposite direction, that's going to take you up to Boulogne. So you'll see there's 2 ends to every metro. You want to head in the direction of the end of the line, wherever you're going to go, and then get off on the stop that's closest to whatever tourist attraction you're doing. So if you're on line 10 and you're headed, and your hotel rather, is at Charles Michel, you're going to head towards Gare d'Austerlitz, and you will get off at the Cluny stop. It's that easy. You don't even have to think about it because the phone's going to tell you what to do. But the concept is that the direction you're going is the end of the line, but you get off on your appropriate stop. Now, I say the end of the line, and it's really important to know that because when you're in the metro tunnels, you're going to follow the signs. So each line has its own color. If we're going to stick with the line 10 example, line 10 is yellow. So when you come down the stairs at Charles Michel, you're going into the metro at that stop. Remember, we're pretending that Charles Michel is the metro stop closest to your hotel. You're going to be down in those hallways and you're going to see two signs. One is going to point towards Boulogne, one hallway, and another hallway, and both will have a yellow 10 on them, a yellow circle with a 10. The other one is going to take you to Gare d'Austerlitz. That's the hallway you're going to follow. You're going to get on the train in the direction of Austerlitz, and you will finally get off at Cluny-La-Sorbonne, because that is the stop that's closest to Saint-Chapelle. I think that makes sense. It really, really makes so much more sense once you're there. But you want to be mindful of following the proper tunnel. So each metro line has a different color, and each metro line has a beginning and an end. For a while, when you're down in the metro, the signs may say both. So you might be in a metro tunnel where the signs say line 10, so it's a yellow circle with a 10, and they say Boulogne d'Austerlitz. So you just keep following those ones, and then at some point they're going to split, and each one's going to go in a different direction, and you need to head in the direction of wherever you're going to stop. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go all the way to Gare d'Austerlitz. You're going to get off along the way, but you just want to make sure you're going in the right direction. And if you ever get on the wrong train, you simply get out at the next stop, exit the metro, go back down the stairs, and go back in the other direction. We've all done it. We've all had to do it a ton of times, even once we've gotten the hang of it. Now, some things that do make it so much easier for you are your iPhone or your Android phone. If you're still using an Android, your smartphone is going to really, really help you. So use your Maps app, type in where you want to go, and it's going to give you a whole list of directions, very, very specific. Walk 500 feet, get on this train, exit this train, walk 500 more feet to the next stop. It's going to really, really help you get there. And you're going to get a feel for the number system, the color-coded system. Again, each line has its own color. Each line has two ends. You'll get the feel for it really fast. There are some lines you will use much more than others. Line 4, line 10, line 7. And you'll become a pro in just a matter of days, maybe just a matter of a few rides. Now, some things to remember to make it more comfortable for you are to remember, if crowds aren't your thing, you might want to avoid rush hour. It can get very, very, very busy in the metro, especially the bigger stations, Montparnasse, Châtelet. If you've ever seen that episode of Seinfeld where Elaine is crammed on a subway and having sort of an internal monologue with herself, internal dialogue rather, that is no joke that it can be like that. You will be nose to nose with multiple people thinking there's no way anyone else can get on this train, and the doors will open and people will push in. It's really important to hold on when the train takes off. Sometimes they can be so crowded. If you can't hold on, it doesn't matter. You're not going anywhere. There's so many people. Now, not only can you use your phone, but when you're on the train, often the name of each stop will be announced on a speaker. If you look out the window, you will see the beautiful tiled subway stations. They have the names in tile, and above the doors will be a long sign, sort of like what I've flashed up on the screen. I'll put it up on the screen for you again, maybe even some video if I can find it for those watching on YouTube, that will show you the line, and you can follow each stop as it goes to keep track of where you are. Some of the lines even have signs that are lit up, so a little light will appear next to the sign to the stop rather, that they are approaching, so you will know that this is your stop. Some of the stations do have elevators and ramps, but some of the older stations will lack accessibility features. You can check the RATP website for accessibility routes. Check the app as well. It's really important to remember they're not all handicap accessible, and many of them have multiple stairs. Now, that's not to discourage you, but if you're traveling with a lot of luggage or maybe something really heavy or a stroller, just know what you're in for. Somebody often will help you just carry the stroller down, or if you've got a group, you can do that. But just be mindful. I just want you to know, if you've never been, there can be a lot of stairs and it can get a little hairy if you're exhausted. Let's talk about etiquette too. There are common courtesies when using the metro. Culturally, it's not a very loud place. So once everybody's on the train, there's not a lot of talking going on. If you're a little nervous or you don't speak French, don't worry. There is no pressure for you to make small talk with the person sitting next to you. In fact, culturally, that's just typically not done in Paris. So I'm from the Midwest. We call it Midwest nice. We make conversation with everyone. Well, I don't, but I'm a little bit more introverted than that, but it's really common to just make small talk with people that you don't know. But in France and Paris, we're going to call it French nice, Paris nice. So their culture has more of an idea of that speaking to a stranger or trying to make small talk or drum up a conversation with a stranger is more of an imposition. So don't worry about making small talk with the people next to you. In fact, you'll notice that most people, they're not even really smiling. You don't have to smile at people in France. I know we do that. This podcast is primarily from an American perspective, and we smile at each other to reassure each other. And they really don't do that in France. So you might get sort of a bizarre look if you give your typical American-friendly smile to someone. When the metro gets really busy, it is customary for you to stand up. So some of the cars have fold-down chairs. When it starts to get busy, you'll want to stand up and let that chair fold up on its own and make more room. If it's not quite busy, but someone, a veteran or someone handicapped or someone elderly or a pregnant woman gets on, it's appropriate for you or the man in your group to stand up and give his or her seat to that person. Now, we've talked a little bit about the buses. If that sounds like more of an alternative for you, all of those tickets are interchangeable. So your metro tickets will work on the bus tickets, but not after they've been activated. So once you scan your ticket or enter your ticket in the metro, you're good for as long as you stay underground. However many transfers you need to make, you don't need to use another ticket. The minute you leave the system, now you need to use a fresh ticket or reuse your Navigo Pass. The same is with buses. Once you scan that ticket on the bus, it's done. If you get off that bus to make a transfer, you'll need to use another ticket or another scan of your Navigo Pass. The best routes with the bus for sightseeing are line 38, line 42, and line 69. After the metro closes late at night, the night buses operate with routes covering most of the city. There are trains that extend further outside the city. In English, we call those the RERs. Those will take you to places like Disneyland Paris, to Charles de Gaulle Airport, and even Versailles. And there are trams also. Trams have 8 lines, lines T1 to T8, and those really serve the outer districts. They're easy to use with the same tickets as the metro. You just want to make sure that you have a Metro Pass. For example, when you purchase your Navigo, you want to make sure that it extends all the way through Zone 5. Now, when you get to Paris, when you land at the airport, you can stop at a kiosk and you can get your Navigo Pass or get your metro tickets for the week. There are kiosks and they have a little sort of scrolling button that you can use, so you can pick English and easily navigate your way through the purchase of those tickets. If you'd like more human interaction, there are ticket counters with, I think, very friendly people ready to help you. I find those ticket counters a little bit more friendly than once you're inside the city. Inside the city, I find it a little bit more difficult to talk through plexiglass. The trains are in the background. A lot of times the metro stations are windy. I don't really love if I'm having a problem with my ticket or something, I don't really enjoy that transaction. I try to use the automated kiosks as much as I can, or take care of that right when I get there, right when I land, before I leave Charles de Gaulle Airport. once you have entered the metro, like I said, once you've activated that ticket, you're going to follow the signs to the correct platform. You're going to double check just to make sure you're headed in the right direction. You want to follow the signs correspondence for transfers, sortie. You'll see the sign everywhere, means exit. Your rush hours are typically between 8 and 10 a.m. and 5 and 7 p.m. And of course, be mindful of pickpockets when it gets really cozy. You want to make sure that you have your bag in front of you at all times. Anyways, it's nice to keep your bag in front of you and just be aware of your surroundings. The metro's typically a very safe place, but we want to use wisdom when we're traveling in another country. All in all, the metro is easy. You'll use it numerous times a day. You'll get a great workout. In the meantime, they say you're never outside of 500 yards of a metro stop. I don't think that's always necessarily true over in areas by the Eiffel Tower and Les Invalides, but on the whole, there's always one right around the corner. I think you're going to find it a fantastic tool during your trip. And with so many options like the buses, the trams, the RERs, all the different tickets, all the different ticket prices, I think there is something, I know there is something to suit you and accommodate you and make your time in Paris the very best it can be. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're following along on YouTube, leave a comment in the comment box. Tell me what you love the most about the metro. And if you're pretty familiar with the city, tell me what your favorite metro stop is, because some of them are so very beautiful. And I will see you all again very soon. A bientôt.